What is going on, guys? Donovan here, and today I want to look at the pros and cons of the DiabloSport Trinity T2 and ultimately determine whether or not I think it was worth the $700 that I paid for it. So let's get into it. So the Trinity T2 is basically a new interface that makes it much easier to check diagnostic codes in your car, do performance tests, tune, and ultimately it's a pretty key aspect of a modded car, especially with the new Dodges from 2015 and up, or any Mopar for that matter. You actually have to get the PCM replaced. Now, before I get onto the pros and cons of the device, I want to talk about an issue I had with that PCM swap process. So right now I'm on the second computer that they've sent me. When they initially sent me the first swapped computer, what happened was I put it in my vehicle, I tried tuning the vehicle, and when I turned it on, the car was misfiring. I think it was either two of the cylinders or one of the cylinders, but the car was misfiring terribly, just constantly, and the idle was horrible, the engine sounded terrible, and honestly I was afraid that something was broken. They were pretty prompt with sending me a replacement one though, which I'm very thankful for because I was afraid that I was going to have to deal with a broken car. And once I got that one installed, everything was all good, so thank God for that. Other than that, that's the only real issue I've had with the DiabloSport that should really raise any concerns. But now let's get on to the pros. So one of my favorite things about the Trinity T2 is the performance pages. So this trim of the RT didn't come with the performance pages in the dash or on the Uconnect. So what I do is I just simply use the ones that are on the Trinity, and they're actually more accurate. They go to 2 decimal places instead of 1, so it's actually a lot more helpful for determining whether or not mods or weather conditions affected your times. When it's only to 1/10 of a second, you can estimate, and you never really know how accurate they are. So ultimately I do appreciate that about the Trinity. Next, of course, is the diagnostics. When you're doing mods and the car is throwing check engine lights, you never know exactly what's happening. You can only kind of assume. And this thing, when you go into the diagnostic page, when your car is throwing a check engine light, it'll give you the code and it'll tell you exactly what is wrong. And that is amazing for people who are kind of paranoid about their car like I am. Now, of course, the main reason for buying one of these is the tuning capabilities. So the one I bought is unlocked, so you can upload custom tunes, which is amazing. Not only did the tune make this car feel like 10 times more peppy, it brought my 0 to 60 down, it brought my 0 to 100 down. This car feels completely different now that I got the tune in a good way. The shifts are much more crispy, and all around it's just a lot more fun to drive. Now, if you're unfamiliar with tuning, if you go past anything other than an intake and exhaust, you pretty much need a custom tune for the car. And that's why I got the unlocked version, is because I'm going to cam this car, and it is going to need a tune. So I needed a device to put the tune on that is emailed to me, and this one was the best one in the market, apparently. All of the figures you see on the back of intake boxes where they're claiming that you gained 15 horsepower from a air intake are only replicable with a tune. So this tuner is giving me all the power for the mods that I have, which is necessary because otherwise I would have lost power from doing headers, exhaust, and intake. Now let's get on to the cons. So obviously this device was very expensive. They have 2 options. You can swap your PCM or get sent a new one, and I believe getting sent a new one and being able to keep your old one is $1,000. And that is pretty pricey for just this little tablet thing that isn't that good of quality. Speaking of quality, this thing freezes up a lot. Sometimes when I'll click performance pages or something, it'll just have that little loading screen and it'll just go forever until I shut the car off. And then when I turn the car back on, sometimes it'll still be loading, so I just have to unplug the thing and plug it back in and hope that it's working. So that is really annoying. Maybe there's a firmware update I have to put on it. I believe I updated it not too long ago, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. Maybe if Diablo sees this video, they can help me diagnose exactly what's wrong with it. But other than that, this thing works perfectly. If I was to give it a score from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it about a 7.5, mostly due to those freezing issues and the hefty price. Other than that, this thing is perfect. I love the performance pages. I love the diagnostics. I love the canned tunes that it has. I love the ability to upload custom tunes, all of that. They seriously outweigh the cons. So at the end of the day, I recommend this thing 100%. If you are going to do anything past the basic mods to your car, you need this. Otherwise, you're just going to be losing power. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my little take on the Diablo Trinity T2. I've had this thing in my car for a couple of months and I wanted to just get a feel for it before I gave any review on it at all. So I hope that this gave you a little insight into what this thing's capable of and the cons that it has. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to click that like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.